I'd love to do a tier list though. I just don't know if there'd be like an EDM themed one, but would love to do one for sure. Maybe if we can find some time, I'd be down and we can make it a little video. But yeah, just don't even, maybe, who knows, maybe there's one available. But so we got a little melodic dubstep tier list here. This is gonna be a video too. This is too funny not to make a video. So I'll just kind of I'll kind of explain the rules for people watching this on the video. So we're gonna be doing a tier list of melodic bass and dubstep artists made by Insco. Check out his channel. He makes pretty similar content to me, but I'm gonna be ranking these based off the grand scheme of melodic dubstep, right? So even if it's like okay, it's the idea that they're okay for melodic dubstep and like melodic bass, right? So pretty much all of these artists are artists that like I religiously listen to. But in terms of the grand scheme of EDM or of the grand scheme of melodic dubstep, we're gonna place them there, right? So we got the high YouTubes, we got the high chats. So Adventure Club, I want to be honest, I do not listen to a lot of Adventure Club. I know that they're kind of pioneers in the scene in the idea that they've kind of evolved the melodic dubstep sound back in the day and whatnot, but not a lot of songs I really enjoy from them. Crash 2.0 is one that I really enjoy, but outside of, you know, a couple songs, I'm just gonna put them, we're gonna put them in the bottom. You know, I think I'm gonna change these tiers. We're gonna go S, A, B, C, D. All right. I think that's a more fair way to put it. So bottom tier Adventure Club, just never really been crazy on their stuff outside of a couple classics. So Blanke. So I think Blanke I'll include more of, well, I guess if we're just talking solely about his melodic dubstep work, I think Blanke has definitely carved out a name for himself, right? Like he's definitely very, very talented for sure. You know, he's like AU5 in the idea that he can kind of just produce every genre because he's so talented. And his melodic stuff is really good too. I think there are definitely artists that can do the melodic sound a lot stronger, but Blanke is definitely up there for sure. I think Lights Out is one of the best songs of 2022. Gorgeous, really solid tune. And I think just the idea, Stuck on You is really great as well. Just the whole Land of the Wayfarer EP was excellent. So I think Blanke will definitely deserve, I think the chat is right on this one. I think Blanke's got to be an A tier. Definitely, I think there are a lot better of artists in terms of that scene, like I said before, but you know, he's definitely got some, when Blanke is at his absolute best, I don't think there's very many people better than him. So, and a little bit of a bonus points, he makes a lot of other genres. So Crystal Skies is going to be a little bit of an interesting one, because I think if you asked me about 2 years ago where I put Crystal Skies, easy S tier, if you asked me 2 years ago. But now we're in this spot where Crystal Skies decided to, their new album is just a sound that I'm not a fan of, like, at all. Like, I'll just be straight up honest, you know. I feel like their stuff past the Collide EP that they did has just been very, very disappointing. Like, the Collide EP, every single song, like, Collide is one of the most innovative, unique melodic dubstep tunes in a very long time. The ideas on there are just so solid. Hear Me Now, fantastic collaboration with Mazzari. Wait, fantastic collaboration with MitiS. And like, you got Knight Rider, you've got the Constellations EP with Feels Right, and oh my gosh, what's the other one? Never Change. Their stuff from 2019 to 2020 was one of the best runs I've ever seen from a group of artists, and would have been top tier, S tier. I think their stuff as of late has really kind of dropped my opinion of them, and it's almost to the point where I don't really follow what they're doing anymore. We're going to go with a C tier. It's going to be a high C tier. You know what? No. We're going to go with a B tier. I think their highs are so high that I feel like the lows can't drop them that much, right? So I think B is a pretty fair rating. I kind of want to, it's a low B, high C. Yeah, just unreal stuff from them in the, you know, in that run, but I'm not really too big on their stuff recently. So Dabin, the photo's kind of weird because I have dark mode turned on and it switches the photos up sometimes, but Dabin's an interesting one, right? Because I think Wild Youth is one of the best albums I've ever heard. I think the amount of, you know, innovation and instrumentation that Dabin showed on display, and you know, it was unlike anything I've ever heard, and it almost wasn't even EDM in a way, but it just felt like the songs were so well written and they had that melodic aspect to them. I think Between Broken kind of goes for a little bit more of an EDM sound, but I feel like the innovation and the creativity isn't as present as it is on Wild Youth. So Dabin's a name that's definitely gone down a little bit for me, but Dabin overall is still very good. I religiously follow what Dabin does, and that those Valorant tracks he did were really good. I'm gonna put him at a high A. I don't think he's S tier. I think Dabin's 2019. If you asked me in 2019, I probably would have put him in S tier, but just not really infatuated by his stuff like I used to be anymore. You know, he's definitely an artist I still keep up with and really enjoy a lot of his releases, but definitely kind of wish that the just doesn't have like the impact and whatnot, right? But that's not his sound, right? So I understand that, but just in terms of my personal taste, it definitely belongs in an A. It's just he's still so solid. So Dabin S tier. Wow, everyone thinks Dabin's S tier. Is A controversial then? I don't know. I think A is a pretty good spot. He's a high A. Obvious. I think I'd put him over Blanke. Excision, on the other hand, might be a little bit of a controversial take, but I guess if we're going to talk about solely melodic, his melodic stuff kind of sucks. I'm not even going to be on. I'll just be straight up honest. Like Gold and Feel Something, yeah, but they're collaborations with Illenium, and like the draw of Excision is the dubstep, right? You've got tracks like End of the World that are just the sound design doesn't really fully come through the mix that well. Overall, I think if I was talking about in the grand scheme of EDM, I think Excision would definitely deserve a bit of a different rating. I'm just going to go with a low D. I think his melodic stuff is generally pretty uninspired, and the mixing could definitely use some work on a lot of the tunes. And I don't even think he's ever taken a solo. I don't even know if he's ever done a solo melodic tune before. I'd have to go back and super far on the discography to see. He's been making music forever. So just in terms of the melodic stuff, though, I'm going to give it a D. Yeah, kind of just a misnomer on this list. Doesn't really make melodic stuff. So his melodic stuff in comparison isn't really that great in my opinion. I don't know. You can call that a controversial opinion all you want, but yeah, very few melodic songs that I've actually added to my playlist from Excision. So Excision B tier, but like, are we talking about his melodic stuff though, right? Because like, I think if we're going to include the dubstep, it's a different story, but I don't know. I just don't think his melodic stuff is that great. Griffin's another one like Crystal Skies, where if you asked me in like 2019 where I'd put Gryffin, probably up here, and he'd probably be a high S. Like he'd probably be number one. Pre and post Gravity, unreal stuff. And then I think ever since, I guess post Gravity doesn't really make sense because that's kind of what he's in right now. Pre-Gravity and up until the Gravity release, probably my favorite artist on the planet. Like I've literally got his jersey up there. He's very influential on me as a person, right? But Gryffin nowadays, man, his stuff has not really been that great. He's had some good tunes here and there. After You was pretty good. Post Gravity, Alive wasn't bad. You Were Loved wasn't bad. Cry was really good. Cry kind of felt like, when you heard Cry, you kind of thought, okay, we're kind of going back to that Gravity sound. But you know, I think outside of that, like you've got songs like "Safe with Me" and like "Caught Up." It's just not really songs that I even have listened to more than a couple times, right? So I think his discography definitely has taken a hit for sure lately. But I think Gryffin's going to be a B. I think that what he has done in that Gravity era is something I don't think another artist will ever be able to accomplish again for me. Gryffin is the reason why I'm into melodic music as much as I am today. This man is so influential on this channel, at least me as a person. So Gryffin stuff, definitely put that in the B tier for sure. Illenium, Illenium's kind of an interesting one because I think you look at Illenium and I feel like a lot of the times he's very, very hit or miss. I think From the Ashes I thought was pretty good. Shivering was insane. Really great tune by him. Story of My Life was really great. Sideways was really great. But then you got songs like First Time. And it's like, I understand where he's trying to go and whatnot, but, you know, I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of the poppier style tunes that he does and whatnot, right? It kind of feels like he has fallen off a little bit. You know, doesn't exactly make the stuff that he used to. Like Awake is one of the greatest albums of all time. Ascend is one of the greatest albums of all time. And I think Fallen Embers just doesn't really compare to those two. It really doesn't. But it's an interesting spot because I think Illenium stuff is a lot more inspired and brings a lot more to the table than a lot of what Gryffin and Crystal Skies are doing. I think Illenium's going to be a low A. Because I think we're going to put him, you know, for what Illenium has done, I think we have to put him above Blanke. I think we have to put him above Blanke. Because Blanke's only been doing for a little bit. But Illenium's stuff is truly special, man. Like, you got Afterlife. You've got just everything on Awake, man. Sound of Walking Away. Free Fall. Lost. Like, insane tunes. And then on Ascend, you've got Pray. You've got Gorgeous. Like, there's very few people that can make the melodic tunes like he does. So I think A is a very good spot for him. But the stuff recently has kind of just been like, it kind of drops the ranking down a little bit because I feel like you kind of have to include everything. Last Heroes doesn't even need to be said. S tier. I know that their stuff as of late hasn't been as great as people say their 2020 run that they had. But Last Heroes straight up S tier. The Finding Light EP, I believe, genuinely might be the best EDM project ever, straight up. Love Like Us, Forevermore, Waiting for You, even that collaboration that they did with Trivecta is one of the best songs of all time. You've got Naked Soul, which is one of the best songs of all time. Yeah, it's one of the easiest S tiers I could possibly do. And I know people, like I said, their stuff as of late hasn't really matched up to that 2020 that they had. But even in 2021, they had Change It, which was probably my favorite song of last year. And yeah, even when you look back all the way to like 2019, you've got Take Your Time, which is one of the, you know, best songs they've even ever done. And that was in 2019. So, you know, I'd love to see what they've got in store. And interested to see what happens. But I don't really even care about their recent stuff right now. Their 2020 was the best year an artist has ever had, and that alone puts it in S tier. So Last Heroes, S tier, easy. Glad to see everyone else kind of agrees with that. Sala, Last Heroes, S, easy. Easiest S tier ever. Yeah. Last Heroes Melodic Dubstep is S tier. Yeah. I don't think anyone would disagree with me putting Last Heroes here. It's a high S tier. I don't know if there's many artists that could beat that. MitiS is an interesting one because I feel like MitiS, he's been in the game forever. I don't think there's many artists that have been making the sound that he has for as long as he has. He's been doing this for like since like 2013, man. Like he's been around forever. My only gripe with his stuff is that I feel like the ideas have kind of fallen behind. Like I don't feel he's innovating as much. I mean, I will take that back. That collaboration with Ray Volpe and his EP next week could be some of the most innovative stuff he's done with all the collabs. But just, you know, his progressions from Till the End and Lost, I don't feel like the innovation in the ideas is entirely there comparative to like someone like Last Heroes, right? Where they're consistently elevating the sound and pushing the sound to new boundaries. MitiS kind of just makes really nice sounding tunes. And yeah, that's kind of his role in the scene. You know, he's got Lost was top tier album. But I don't think MitiS, there's very few songs that I could say about MitiS where I'm like, this absolutely blew my expectations out of the water. I think the only two I could really name would be like Follow You. Moments when I listened to it was insane. And Wait, probably. But I'm not even that crazy on Wait anymore. Still an insane song, but I used to think it was probably one of the best songs ever. I don't know if I'd put it there anymore. I think MitiS fits here. I think he's slightly below the likes of a Dabin or Illenium, but I think he's definitely above Blanke for sure. He's been around for a while, made some really great tunes. I think he could put himself into S tier if he just kind of innovated a little bit, you know. He's got the sound quality, and his sound quality and sound design are always great, but just think that, you know, Don't Look Down was a perfect example of what he can do when he decides to, you know, innovate and whatnot, right? So definitely wish he could push the sound a little bit more forward, but I think mid B is a good spot, or mid A is a good spot for him. Nurko is a hard one because I'm going to place him in S tier. I don't know if he's a high S tier, though. I think the gap between Last Heroes and Nurko is pretty significant. I think Nurko's a very low S tier, and I'd be hard-pressed to put him in A, but I think he's a step above Dabin and Illenium and whatnot, for sure. I think Nurko, like Last Heroes, had probably the best 2020 I've ever seen from an artist. You got songs like Faith, Blind Spot Part 2, Better Off Lonely. All the freaking remixes that this man did were just absolutely incredible. From the Leave It All Behind remix to the Deep Blue remix, like, and then he's got Sideways. Yeah, he's very rarely done, you know, a song where I was like, you know, I don't think that really worked or whatnot. I will say that his 2020 was a lot better. I think that his stuff has kind of taken a little bit of a dive lately. He used to go for these super impactful tunes, and that's why I'm kind of like, if you asked me to do this in 2020, Nurko would probably be at the top of S with Last Heroes without a question. But I think Nurko's stuff has taken a little bit of a dive lately. Doesn't really go for as much impact as he used to, but he's still there, right? So S tier for me. I think that he still belongs in that spot. Said the Sky might be a little bit of a controversial one. Obviously, if you guys tuned into my reaction to the William Black and Said the Sky tune, just don't really enjoy his stuff as much as I used to anymore. I think Wide-Eyed was a good album. Wouldn't particularly say it was one of my favorite albums I've ever heard, and just looking at his discography, there's very few songs in here that I really just think like, wow, you know, these are mind-blowing tunes that, you know, completely change the perspective of EDM for me. Like, I think the only two I'd really put were Potions and Sad Songs. Outside of that, yeah, there's not a lot of songs here that I really am infatuated by. I think Said the Sky is a C tier. Yeah, just more of a personal opinion for me. Sentiment wasn't an album I really particularly enjoyed, and yeah, I feel like that his ideas and drops have kind of lost the impact that they used to have as well. So yeah, kind of sucks to put him there. He was one of the biggest artists into why, you know, I love melodic music so much. Really enjoyed his stuff throughout high school and whatnot, but just doesn't really hit as much as he used to anymore. So high D, damn, dude, that's kind of rough. I think Said the Sky's like a mid C tier, I think. But seems like Said the Sky's a very controversial figure nowadays. You already know who we got. We got our main man, Seven Lions. Like, come on. We can't not put Seven Lions on this list. And you know what? Fuck it. I'm willing to put him over Last Heroes because I think, like I said, Last Heroes 2020, nobody will ever beat that. I'm straight up honest. Nobody will ever beat Last Heroes is 2020. Seven Lions has consistently made amazing music for like as long as anybody here can remember. It really doesn't go without saying. This channel exists because of Ophelia and Melodic Dubstep and what Seven Lions has done for the scene. So me acting like Seven Lions isn't some A tier is, you know, it'd be a disgrace. But at the end of the day, we'll have to see how the album looks. For all we know, Seven Lions' new stuff may drop the ranking a little bit, but I don't really see that happening. It doesn't seem like he's going to switch up his sound a little bit. Not over Last Hero. Yes, people don't like me putting him over Last Heroes, but you know what? Seven Lions has consistently made... I don't think there's ever been a year where I've listened to Seven Lions and have been like, I didn't really enjoy that year from him. Let me go back. We're going to go back and we're going to do a little rewind of his discography. Because I really didn't start listening to Seven Lions until like 2018. So 2018 is when I started listening to him. We got Calling You Home. Amazing song. Ocean, amazing song. Dreamin', amazing song. Horizon, amazing song. After Dark, amazing song. Start Again EP, not really my favorite, but it was still pretty. There's some pretty good songs on there. And then First Time. So that's probably First Time's probably one of the best songs of all time. So you've got a 2018 Insane, 2019 Island. Insane tune. The Blood's kind of all right. Sojourn's pretty good. See the End's okay. But like even then, like in 2019, you've still got all these insane songs. Like Known You Before with Jason Ross. Insane tune. Break the Silence. Yeah, a lot of these tunes from 2019 have kind of grown off of me a little bit. I'm not too crazy on Break the Silence anymore. Yeah, 2019, solid year. Then you've got And 2019 was probably his weakest year, in my opinion. So then you got 2020, Only Now, the Find Another Way EP, Don't Want to Fall, like that. Shadows is 2021. Let's not put the cart ahead of the horse. So in 2021, he only had like the Find Another Way EP, Need Your Love, which I'm pretty sure Need Your Love was 2019. I don't know why I'm saying that's 2020. And then Don't Want to Fall. Still an insane 2020. That's all he had to do. And then 2021, you got Shadows, you got Wild and Broken, you've got Returning to You, you've got and like, that's all he did in 2021, by the way. But like, those three releases on their own make 2021 insane. And then you've got 2022, you got See You Again. He's probably at his best year he's ever had. I mean, 2018 might be better, but See You Again, Reason for Fighting, and then he's got his album coming up. Like, you can't tell me this man's not S tier. At least from when I started listening to him, this man has been consistently releasing great music for years on years on years. I personally believe he's at the top of this list right now. Worlds Apart's a great song too. Like he has consistently made amazing music for as long as he has. Like that enough puts him in S tier. Because I think a big part about being a fantastic artist is consistency. Like you can consistently release great music, and he's done that. So otherwise, I think if we're just gonna judge it based off their peaks, I think Crystal Skies would be S tier. But I think consistency is a big thing, and you got to be consistent. Free Sol, like, come on. Like, you could go on and on about great Seven Lions tunes. You could go on forever. But we won't do that because, yeah, you got Rush Over Me, you got Higher Love, like, S tier. S tier. Slander, on the other hand, there may not be as positive of words for this particular duo. Collaborations wise, I think we'd probably, if these guys only made melodic collaborations, probably here, Back to You, Better Than Heaven, Potions, Anywhere with AU5, like, just absolutely all you need to know with Gryffin. Like, come on. And you got Getting Late with If Found too. Come on. Absolutely insane collaborations on the melodic side. The solo stuff, on the other hand, I think the album probably has me putting them here. F tier is a little harsh because I think we have to put the collaborations into perspective. But I think just with that, I think the Thrive album has convinced me to put them in C tier. Just straight up. Their solo work could definitely use some work. And yeah, just not really any inspiration in my eyes, and yeah, just kind of an unfortunate tale for them. Don't really want to go too much in depth into what I think about Slander, but just based off their Thrive album and their solo stuff that they've done, and I think C tier is a pretty good spot for them. Mr. Sam, Trivecta. I can't put him there. It's hard. It's hard not to put Trivecta above Seven Lions, but we're going to put him slightly below. It's really hard for me to do that because I want to put Trivecta here. I really want to put him here. But we're going to stick with Trivecta just below Seven Lions. Yeah. What else can we say about Trivecta? Just innovating the melodic dubstep scene, pushing the sound like completely beyond its barriers of what we can expect, constantly switching up the subgenres, and bringing like this folky sort of sound into his album that he just did, and it's absolutely insane what Trivecta does, and honestly, it shows in his growth. Like, you see these Trivecta sets at festivals, and the crowds are fucking packed. And then the artist after, there's not as many people. Like, people are going out of their way to see Trivecta. And it's just like, if you're a smaller artist in this scene, I think that you need to strive for what Trivecta does. I think, creating that signature sound, really engaging with your community, and just being a fun dude to interact with. Like, I'd love to just have a beer with Trivecta, dude. Or just to meet him in general. He's the one artist I really want to meet, and I still haven't got to meet him yet. So it's a work in progress, but I'd love to meet him for sure. And yeah, music alone speaks values. We'll go through the discography here. No, there's no bad tunes in here. You got the album, What Needs to Be Said, Light Up the Sky, Wild and Broken, Goes to the Machine, Twilight of the Gods, Waiting for You, You Can Be My Light, the Everyday EP, Riptide, Best for You, Island, Tornado. Like, I really started listening to Trivecta in 2019, so I guess like you can include Axis and Falling too. Those are great tunes, but yeah, Trivecta deserves S tier. It's one of the few I would argue with anyone in the chat who doesn't say he's S tier. Trivecta's S tier. William Black, on the other hand, is an interesting one. I think everything that William Black does is very good, but I think he's very seldom done tracks where I'm like, this track is just an absolutely insane tune that just breaks the sound, breaks the boundaries of the sound. William Black very rarely does that. I think there's maybe, I don't even, like, Nothing Left, but I feel like that's more of like the fact that it was a Wooli collaboration for the reason why that broke the sound. Like, I think that William Black just tends to play it very safe. And I don't have anything wrong with that, but I think it really limits how far you can put yourself. He's very consistent, but he's very consistently good. I think that he's done very few tunes that are like very great. I think Only One I Need is one of his best tunes, but I think that also has a lot to do with the fact that it's Halion. He hasn't really evolved his sound like I thought he would. I thought, you know, with this Pieces album, I thought he would have tried to elevate his sound and kind of take his sound in a new direction, but kind of just kept with the same kind of, you know, signature sound that he's got, and it works for him. He's grown a pretty good audience doing it. I kind of want to do some rearranging here because I think William Black should probably be here. But, or maybe here. I think this is more fair. A lot of people were complaining that Slander and Said the Sky were next to each other. So I've decided to change. It's not because you guys said that, but more so because I just feel like a rearrangement of the tiers is probably necessary. I think William Black is just about in the middle as you can get. Not really much else to say there. Y'all, seriously, where's AU5? Yeah, I think if Insco's watching this, there's a couple artists that I'd like for him to add. I think AU5 is a must. I think Jason Ross is a must. It hits most of the points. Like maybe if like Awakened wouldn't be about that bad of one. Far Out. Definitely would appreciate some more underrated names in there for sure. Wooli. Wooli's an interesting one because if we were not just doing melodic dubstep stuff, Wooli would probably be here. Somewhere in this range, right? Wooli's dubstep is some of my absolute favorite stuff that he does. But in terms of the melodic stuff, I mean, I'm not that's not his final ranking, by the way. In terms of his melodic stuff that he does, it's all right. Crazy was pretty good. Light Up the Sky was pretty good. Shadows was pretty good. Erase You's pretty good. Overuse, all right. Island's pretty good. Like, the thing is that a lot of these tracks, though, he's like adding the dubstep aspect of it, right? Like, if we're just gonna include the melodic stuff that he does, I think if we're gonna just do melodic, I think Wooli probably belongs here. I think if a lot of people see this list, they're gonna be like, dude, how the fuck are you gonna put Wooli in here? But just based off his melodic stuff he's done, like, it's very similar to William Black in the idea that I feel like his melodic stuff is just good. Like, I never really have any issues with Wooli's melodic stuff. But I just wish the ideas just generally aren't that crazy. But, you know, it's not really the sound he makes, so kind of gets a pass. His dubstep is absolutely insane. So, but yeah, I think B is a pretty good spot for his melodic stuff, and that's the tier list. Kind of wish there was more artists. This was really fun to do.